See it this way, right?
All right.
BTO, please turn over.
All right. All right, here we go. We'll call the Monday, September 20th, 2021 regular session of the Lake Jackson City Council meeting to order. We'll begin with pledge allegiance by Councilman Monday, September 20th, 2021 regular session of the Lake Jackson City Council meeting to order. We'll begin with pledge allegiance by Monday, September 20th, 2021 regular session of the Lake Jackson City Council meeting to order. We'll begin with pledge allegiance by Monday, September 20th, 2021 regular session of the Lake Jackson City Council meeting to order. We'll begin with pledge allegiance by Monday, September 20th, 2021 regular session of the Lake Jackson City Council meeting to order. We'll begin with pledge allegiance by Monday, September 20th, 2021 regular session of the Lake Jackson City Council meeting to order. We'll begin with pledge allegiance by Monday, September 20th, 2021 regular session of the Lake Jackson City Council order. We'll begin with pledge allegiance by Monday, September 20th, 2021 regular session of the Lake Jackson City Council order. We'll begin
workforce mixed income housing developer.
What's your name and address?
Area for Illinois in New York City. And we primarily what we do is we buy, develop, and renovate workforce housing. So I'm with here, that's what we're looking to do here in Lake Jackson. So I just want to talk a little bit about what we do, who we are, what we plan to do. I also have a question in the area for Illinois in New York City. And we primarily what we do is we buy. So before developing workforce housing, so I'm with here, that's the fifth largest Jackson. I just want to talk a little bit about who we are, what we do. We also have a question in the service. Our track record and ability to work across the country, primarily do multiple different cities. So I myself work developing, working in Texas, Ohio, Florida. I just want to talk a little bit about who we are, what we do. We also have a question in the service. The fair said track record don't just ability to own communities across the country or long-term members. So our self-developing site staff that work for Texas, our employees, Ohio, Florida. We talk a little bit about the long-term members. So that's the fair said track record don't just ability to own across the country. Every apartment no matter what your result is, housing, and then after increased housing for steel appliances, upgrade the countertops, and solid surveys, countertops. So very market-based. Here's some examples of information, and I'm happy to answer any questions about the financing or my cover. No matter what your result is, housing, and then after. Yeah. So interior renovations, yes. But we actually have a lot of plans. So one of the things about getting Lake Jackson is that it has all of the bones for new amenities. So it has such as a volleyball court, same volleyball court we designed today. We're looking to turn that into a splash. So interior renovations, right? Playground. We actually have a lot of plans. Community room fully revamped. Fitness center fully revamped. So there's also right have architecture, very community room, fully revamped architecture firm that works across Texas, working in so and bringing in landscape architecture as well. Upgrading all the landscaping, very community room. Future budget architecture for the works across is robust, so this will be able to take care of and bringing in annual replacements for flowers, upgrading better hedging, future budget architecture for the works across. So we're all about curb appeal. So it's not just about the neighborhood, we're impacting the community, and we want to make sure that this is something that enhances everything around it. So
The times I've ridden by there, it's always looked well kept.
it does, yeah,
I mean,
and that's
really
one of the things that
nice, yeah.
we actually really love. So that, and what interesting thing about this community development is that our partner, Southeast Texas Housing Finance Corporation, is the current owner. We are partnering with them. So the owner, who's a nonprofit, and you guys have heard from, is remaining in the partnership with us. We're just being admitted to it, and then we're bringing this financing. So it's public, private, nonprofit. I'm for profit, and so it's something that works, which is always nice to see. So
So are you gonna upgrade that swimming pool of the great state of Texas there?
so we do have the swimming pool there.
And it's designed in the state of Texas.
You want me to read it?
No, it's already designed in there, that way.
Lake Jackson. The
Because I was one of the first ones to move in there.
oh.
I was there when it was developed, so I had security there.
Well, we do have plans for the pool, particularly updating the pavilion nearby, barbecue stations, and just make it more of a, we like to say activating the areas. We want it to be attractive, inviting. If you have amenities, they should be things that people want to go to. So that's what we're always trying to hold when we come into a community to redesign it. So.
How much during the process of the renovations, both inside and outside, will you guys be able to hire local? Or do you bring people in?
Yeah, so great question. So from the redevelopment, so the 50,000 is a way I kind of just frame it. That doesn't mean 50,000 goes into a unit. I could probably do an entire brand new unit, stub and all, for about 40,000. And so for this community, it's one actually the surveyors that we hired who looked at the community, so this is the best that they've ever had in 30 years. It's in impeccable shape, the bones are great, so there's really no structural or I'd say deferred maintenance that have to be addressed, which means a lot of the funding that we can go into goes into upgrades that truly you get to see, not like replacing electrical boxes and stuff like that. So from here, I'd say about 50% is going to go into a unit that will accomplish all the high-end upgrades that you see, and the remainder will go into the rest of the community through either amenities or through the exterior and roofing. We're looking at doing new roofs at the community as well, even though they're in good shape, just so that the long-term operations, we don't want, since we're a long-term owner, we're not going to invest 5 years from now or 10 years from now. We want to make sure that the investment we make today is there for the long.
Are you gonna use local contractors? I think that's what she
Oh,
was
yes.
asking.
So we're going to bid this out, but we have no opposition. And we're also going to be doing a HUD contract. HUD requires Section 3. Section 3 efforts means that we are required to put out local solicitations for contractors. We're also required to use local solicitations for minority and women-owned businesses. So being that this is federally financed. Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions?
How
Any
about the gating security that's there? I noticed they always have had problems with it. Probably 90% of the time it always stayed open.
So if there's anything on the property that's intended to function but isn't functioning how it's supposed to, that's something we have to address. It's actually a requirement as part of our financing.
I'm happy to report that we actually replaced those about 18 months ago.
Okay, okay.
But we'll make sure that they're operational, so.
Okay. Are there any questions from the audience? It's a public hearing, so. All right.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay. I'm going to close the public hearing at 6:45, and we'll move back to regular session, and we'll have item B. You want to read the resolution? I will.
This is a resolution 21-877 of no objection for tax exempt bonds for Gateway Lake Jackson owner LP. Now therefore be resolved by the City Council of the City of Lake Jackson, resolved that in accordance with the requirements of Texas Government Code 2306.67071, notice has been provided to the governing body in accordance with the Texas Government Code. The governing body has had sufficient opportunity to obtain a response from the applicant regarding any questions or concerns about the proposed development. The governing body has held a hearing at which public comment may be made on the proposed development in accordance with the Texas Government Code. And after due consideration of the information provided by the applicant and public comment, the governing body does not object to the proposed application.
Move for a motion? Or it's time for a motion?
I move for approval on item A.
Motion for, need a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you very much. All right, well, we're going to item C, which is discuss and consider a resolution nominating candidates for the Missouri County Appraisal District. Still, you want to review the regular
Yes.
history of this?
Well, you know, we usually, I guess, piggyback on the school district or elect current members. We have about 45 votes out of, I think the school district may have 1,500. So it's a small number. I do not have a list of candidates for you. I think the date to bring this, to eventually have this back is October 15th. So we can put it on the next agenda if you do have candidates, but I wanted to bring it to your attention, unless someone brought nominees tonight, but staff does not have any recommendations.
How many do we get? One?
You can make up to, I believe you can submit 5 nominees, and we put our 45 votes
Behind the five.
behind the 5, or if you just have 1, but it's up to council. We just don't get a lot of votes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can nominate up to 5. Yeah, up to 5. Yep. So, I want to put this on the next agenda, and we'll also have the current nominees, I guess, where we can
Yes.
throw our names behind there. Anybody that's on the list. But if you do have somebody that you want to put on the list, we'll put them out there and put 45 votes behind them if that's what council wants to do. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll add this on the next agenda, and if you come up with nominees, that'll be great. We'll put them out there.
Now we're going to move to item D, which is discuss amending Chapter 82, solid waste to prohibit the scavenging of heavy trash items.
Well, actually, Mr. Zahaya, brought this problem up that he or someone observed in the neighborhood of actually someone going through the large trash and making a mess. And so we went back the next day and started to look at, we've got scavenging written in for, I guess, regular trash, but we didn't really cover our large trash. And so even if we had caught that person that day, we could warn them, but we really couldn't cite them. And this would give us the power to do that. But I'll let Sherry speak on this in detail.
Yeah, we did, we modified this maybe 10 years ago because someone was going through the recyclables. and leaving a mess behind. And so we modified this for the recyclables. We've never had a heavy trash problem. They usually just pick it up and take it. But now someone with a set of tools is just coming around and taking what he wants and then leaving a mess. And our guys are gonna pick it up, but still, you don't wanna see that laying around
Right.
before they get there. And so, what I did was I've taken, if you could do one more up, it was all put in under 8271 collection, and I've just taken everything and moved it down to a completely separate section, so it'll be easier to find. And, because that was another problem, I thought we had it, where is it? It was in a place that didn't make sense, so I've tried to write it generically enough that anytime someone's doing something that's making a mess in the trash, we can write them a citation.
Sound good?
So this prevents the guys that drive around and pick up old washing machines and take the whole washing machine. This would prevent them from being able to take the old washing machine from the curb, or
No.
they just can't take it apart and pull the motor out?
It does say remove items placed for collection. So if you want them to go ahead and be able to take that, I could, take out the word remove, and that way it would be, you'd be left with scavenge, search through, disturb, or scatter. And maybe I should take out remove. People drive around and pick up old bikes and things.
Right.
Yeah, if that's one of the best
Yeah.
things, we can set stuff out and by 10 o'clock they're gone.
Yeah.
Well, recycling is good if somebody can reuse that,
Right.
repurpose that. Keeps the landfill clean, so.
Yeah, we usually don't get a complaint if someone removes something in the pile, but this last one, they went through it and left a big mess.
Or for the same reason we don't put our trash out the night before, it'll get scattered by animals or whatever. You
Right.
certainly wouldn't want humans to do the same thing with
Right.
wash machines. But taking the whole wash machine is a great way to reuse it and reduce,
Right.
reduce, reuse, recycle, right?
We did have a gentleman who collected them in his front yard.
Should have that,
My thought is if you're a hoarder, take it out to the county.
sure, I would hope that would be covered by some other ordinance that we have to prevent
is.
that type of activity, so.
Take it someplace else, please.
Right.
Yeah, so, but I can take out the word remove. I think y'all are correct. People pick up and fix those old bicycles and
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
nice.
And I mean, we have some leeway there in terms of who gets cited anyways, correct?
Well, the officers always have discretion,
But it don't always work that way.
but,
Right.
and it doesn't,
They do.
That's a simple
This was
fix,
just
though.
one area where there
Yeah.
was an omission where had the officer or the code enforcement officer caught him in the act,
they could, yeah.
all they could do is talk to them. They really couldn't cite him under anything. They just ask them, please do not do it again. This time they can cite him on it.
Yes.
But the more particular the ordinance can be, I think the better. And if the problem is disturbing and scattering, then remove might be a little too broad. So I would support that change.
So do y'all want to we're going to bring this back to council meeting with a cleaned up
Yes.
ordinance? Okay.
Should be quick.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to item E, which is discuss and consider resolution to join the Texas Attorney General's opioid settlement agreement. Sherry can talk about this too. She and I both attended, we were requested by Attorney General's office to attend a meeting with their folks to talk about the pending settlement dealing with the opioid abuse and by the medical industry and stuff. So Sherry, you want to?
It's, you all know this has been a problem for decades, and finally, the feds cracked down and they found, many of the culprits, and some states, including Texas, got together and got a settlement agreement out of Johnson & Johnson and then these 3 large distributors, and they are paying money to the states, so it's getting divided up per state and then per town. We don't have to file for a grant, it's just money, and that was one of the questions I asked, is it going to the state then to us? And they said, no, it's going to
Right.
you. So, what we can do though, if the hospital or EMS want to receive money for some sort of an abatement, the money that they've spent or a program that they have, they can partner with the city or the county or another local government and apply for grant to do that. 75 at the meeting, they told us somewhere in the 90s.
Yes,
We don't
around
actually
92,
know
yeah.
how much is coming until everybody joins, and then it'll get divided up.
Yeah, so it's, again, it's initial 15% is what this 75%, 75,000 is, or estimated amount is. And again, they want to, if you sign to agree to with the settlement, is you will receive these funds within, it's not all at once, I think it's over 3 payments, I think, that will get it. And it can be used to reimburse us for any kind of expenses that we've had associated with this issue. I mean, we've went out and we've trained our police and fire and EMS on responding to someone that's overdosing. We've provided the medicine or the
Narcan.
Narcan.
Narcan to address that, so we can reimburse ourselves for those costs. So those are the type of things that these dollars can be used for. And like Sherry was saying, is there's an opportunity there's grants that'll be set up that the cities have to be involved, have to be part of it. It has to go through a city or a county. And I see a lot of good that can come out of this. And what the state is asking for us, they're asking us to join in with the settlement versus each city or county or whatever doing their own thing. Because they do have some counties that have chosen to go do it themselves, and they're going after large sums of money, and partly because they have large legal fees and stuff. So
Nothing wrong with that.
Is-
nothing.
Is this the type of funding that can be used, so Lake Jackson, Brazoria County, Texas in general are terrible with any type of mental health resources, any kind of juvenile resources,
Right.
anything like that? Can this be directed towards something like that?
They said the money for the grants, there are not a lot of strings. They said
Right.
they don't mean for this to be difficult.
They don't want
It
this to
just
be
needs to
another.
be a program.
They don't want to be another example of like the tobacco settlement.
Yeah.
And so the state is trying to get, and in the settlement, they're trying to get these dollars into the community quickly so it can start doing good today instead of dragging it out for decades.
Just,
Yeah,
we need more resources of that nature.
yeah,
We do, and if they can tie that into some sort of opioid use, which I'm sure they can, because they self-medicate,
Yep.
right.
then that can be used for the mental health.
Any questions on this? Okay.
Sounds good.
Any questions from the audience? All right, so we'll need a motion on this item, if y'all choose to do so.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the resolution to join the Texas Attorney General's opioid settlement agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. All right, we're going to item F, which is discuss and consider an ordinance extending the disaster declaration. This is going to be a first and final, so I will need a suspension.
Move for a suspension.
A motion to move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? All right, we'll move on to actually discussing it. And again, I did a disaster declaration the day of the event. And for this to continue on, for us, we have to bring it back to you guys, council, to extend it, if you consider it. And then, Modesto, could you explain why we should extend?
Well, we estimate that we'll probably have another 3 to 4 weeks in the disaster of just working on debris. And so if we do find out that we're eligible for reimbursement, that work needs to be done under a declared disaster. So we need that time period to cover us for any debris management.
Mr. Mayor, since we are Facebook live streaming this,
Right.
could you just give kind of a brief overview what that even means to do like a disaster declaration? Just kind of a general, why we do that?
Yeah, what we do mainly, for an example like this, for an event like this, is it enables us to access resources that the state can make available to us immediately when a disaster declaration is called. there's all kind of things that are worked in, are listed in the state, or the approved, description of that, what is it? It's legislative,
I don't know what you're reaching.
I know, the order, the ability to work, the declaration,
There's a few laws in the statute.
it's laws, what I'm
That
looking for.
says, when there's a disaster, the governor and the mayors can do things like evacuations, and
Right.
we had one once, don't make wakes when you're driving through flooded areas.
Yeah.
There are a few that we've never, I mean, we do no price gouging, we've never done the firearm or the alcohol ones that are available, we've never had problems. And so that makes those available, but it also makes available if you're wanting to get reimbursed by FEMA, it has to be under one of these declarations. And right now, that's what's important. Everybody's, I think, almost everyone has their electricity on, but we've got huge piles of brush, and that's usually the most expensive part of our cleanup, is getting all of those trees out and onto the mulch site. And so this will let us go in and ask for reimbursement for all the debris management.
Yeah, the word I was looking for, law, is a simple word of law, that the law that's been set aside, that's been approved and by the state legislature. And so it's just something we do up front so that we can start those activities as quickly as possible and get those resources in. And also, it does give the mayor the authority to take action without having to call a meeting with the city council. Again, we all know that even if we declared this, we continue with this declaration, and the chances of us requiring for me to make a decision right quick are pretty limited, so I would hold off until we had another council meeting. The window for that emergency orders from the mayor, for example, is very small, very, very small. And
They're
so,
usually just needed in the first few days after the
Right.
storm.
yeah, so, and Ken, we always have the opportunity to call an emergency meeting if we need to, and that's always been my intention is, I want the council involved with any of these decisions as quickly as possible so I can make happen.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so is there any other questions about this? And I'll take a motion if y'all choose to do so.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve extending the ordinance, the disaster declaration.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you. We'll move on to item G, which is award a contract to DXI for chlorine and sulfur dioxide in the amount not to exceed $231,925.
This was set out to bid. This is the only company that bid on it. This is also our current contractor. There is an increase in costs on this. That's why they did not opt to just go ahead and roll over. They knew they were going to have, and they had given us advance notice that there was going to be an increase in the cost on this. When we went out to bid, we were hoping maybe we'd get somebody else to bid, but no, this is the only one that we received. We are satisfied with their service. We are using a little bit less chemicals now. The events of the past year where we've done a lot of the testing and the cleaning and the changing of procedures, we're using a little bit less. I don't think it'll be a net, but that's what we're kind of hoping for, that we can get it as a net on this. But we would like the approval for this contract.
All right, is there any questions, council? All right, take a motion on this item.
Move for approval, awarding contract to DXI for chlorine and sulfur dioxide in amount not to exceed $231,925.
All right, have a motion. Need a second?
Second.
Have a second? Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. All right, we're going to item H, discuss and consider compensation for council-appointed employees Modesto Mundo and Sherry Russell for the hours worked during the Hurricane Nicholas event. This is something that we have to, if we want to do something like this, we need to bring it back to council and for approval. In the past, I think every time that I know of that we've brought this back to council, we've taken some action on it. It doesn't have to be in the form of dollars. It can be in vacation. It can be, and if it's on vacation, we can say that you have to use it within a certain time period, so that Modesto will actually take vacation.
The one thing I will note, our personnel director did look at both of their vacation hours, because that is something that has been common in the past. At least one of those individuals has already maxed out his vacation hours.
Is
So you could give him vacation hours. It would not help. He is already at the cap. So
You can expand the cap.
yes.
all right.
For this one event, you could just say these hours don't count towards the cap.
Yeah.
That would be good too.
The mayor kind of surprised me on putting this on the
I know.
agenda.
I got in
Would've-
trouble.
I would have preferred that this not be on the agenda. And as I had,
But I believe the council does support that, so, you know,
I
don't have any problem.
appreciate that. Sherry and I talked about that.
No, it's not really,
You do not have to do anything.
no.
And I really we do not want any pay.
No.
But, I mean, if you're gonna twist my arm, I mean, if you wanted to give vacation days, you know, we can accept that, we miss some time with the family, but, please do not give us extra compensation.
You just have to make him take it though. If he's maxed out, then you have to order him something, right?
Can
Take
get through
vacation
a-
or you're fired.
Yes, there you go.
We've got to get through a month though with no.
I've been trying.
Yeah, we're not in trauma.
I have been
That's the
trying.
kicker there. That's right.
That's something we don't have any control over.
Yeah, that's right. But it's something, you know, if you did it for the hours that they turn in on their 214s, it'd probably be a week's vacation.
For
Is what we're
Modesto,
looking
I barely was even there.
Okay.
I don't ever remember doing this before,
Yeah, I think we
We
did
have
that
done,
before.
we have done it before.
We've done this before.
not in my 8 years, I don't think.
Yes, Harvey, we did it for Harvey.
Did it for Harvey.
Yep.
Yes.
We done it when Bill was there.
Well, my memory's not very, when was Harvey?
17.
And what do we do?
Vacation,
I don't
we done
remember that.
vacation.
Harvey was a hard one. Modesto was up here a lot.
But again,
I really, you know, I have to be with Mr. Beal. I don't know what we did for Mr. Yenny. I know we did for, you know, all the other employees,
okay, yeah,
but I
yeah.
don't know what we did for Mr.
But
Yenny.
I think are we doing something for the other employees as well who has already?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's
our,
what
our position in this regard doesn't affect your ability to use your judgment with respect to those who don't report direct to us, correct?
That's correct. No, I've already taken care of all the other employees.
You know, all of those worked long, hard hours.
They did.
And time away from their family, that really is commendable. I mean, we appreciate that very much. The citizens of our city do as well.
Let's go 5 days.
Mr. Buell, if you'll put that in a motion, I'll second that.
Do you want it, I don't want 5 days, I'd take 2 days. Give
Good.
Modesto 5, I'll take 2.
How about 5? You wanna use them, use them. If you don't, don't. You'll sit there all night.
If I don't use them, they go away.
That's
Okay.
fine. They're there if you wanna use them. If you don't wanna use them, let them go.
They have to be used before the end of the year.
Just-
How's that?
Mr.
Just-
Bueller, can you amend your motion that he get 5 and she stated 2, and we can go with that?
I make a motion that our city manager get 5 days and our city secretary gets 2 days.
The
Attorney.
The attorney.
Attorney, all right.
She's like,
So I was waiting for that second.
I'll second
One
that.
one don't want him, I'll give you her 3.
There you go.
all right, we have a motion for Councilman Buell.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Already seconded.
I'll let you do the hard work on that one.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Thank you. Please do not tell my wife.
Oh, that'll
She
cost.
would make you take
That'll
off.
cost.
That'll cost you.
So we want you to take vacation. All we got to do is talk to the wife.
Yeah,
That's right.
All right. I know where y'all live.
that's what will cost me.
Okay, so then we're gonna move on to item I, which is city manager's update, which is gonna be update on Hurricane Nicholas.
Milford, can you go to the folder for storms? And, oh, no, never mind. Go to the agenda file
and while they're getting that, in front of you all is a objective
for final
objective
agendas.
sheet. It's for a designated operational period. The one here is today through the next 2 weeks. This was put together by myself, Modesto, and Brian. It just shows our objectives for the next 2 weeks.
Right.
And they get very specific in there.
And some of these objectives, I think we're going to be broadcasting through the PIO on.
Yes, sir, all week.
Yep.
So we'll update this as we get more data. We haven't had time to really take a step back and look at the storm. Right now, you know, from initial looking at the NOAA site, I think we had landfall sometime around 1 a.m. on Tuesday. Somewhere around Sargent, I mean, you can actually see the center location, but we haven't plotted that on the map. I guess that Thelston can, and then show us how many miles the eye, you know, was close to us, unless he already has it. But I was just pulling off the NOAA. And then if you go to the next slide, you can actually see this. This is a compilation of the winds that they had in the advisory. We'll find out as they get more data of the highest winds. We had a max gust recorded at 65, miles an hour at the PD, but VDD, I think, had a report of somewhere around 100.
What was that
at
at?
one of their sites, one of the VDD locations. So we haven't confirmed that either. We'll just have to see
Thank you.
what that is.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
Velasco Drainage
Velasco
Thank you.
Drainage District, I'm sorry. I'm using acronyms. So, yeah, once we get a better idea after the storm in a couple of weeks, we'll give you that data. When the EOC met on Sunday, we had a Zoom meeting. We brought all the directors together, and we were discussing it. We really thought it was going to be a rain event. So we activated our pumps, got them here. We just didn't think it was going to be that big of a wind event. And then it sped up. And then by Monday, it was 6 hours sooner than expected. And then it became, a mini hurricane. And then it was a very tightly focused windstorm event as well, where it really just pounded, Matagorda County and us. And I think that's going to be, so we were kind of excited at first that it was moving quick. It was like, that'll be a benefit, that it'll get out of here quick. But it got so close to us that we took the brunt of the wind, and we have so many trees, so that hit us hard on the power event. Debris, I think what everybody, sees and appreciates is, the debris event, and everybody can appreciate the power as well and being amongst it. What you don't realize behind the scenes is that how much depends on power. All your utilities. We lost everything except for maybe 2, possibly lift stations. We lost all the wells. So, and not everything has a generator tied to it. So we rent 6 to 8 generators during the season, and we have some generators that are in place. And then we started getting donations. But so to keep those lift stations running, the utility crews are moving generators around and draining a lift station, going to the next one, draining it and stuff, making sure that we do not lose utilities, nor are we losing water. And then we started having fits with our facility generators. We lost again the generator at the fire department, like we did during the winter storm. And after the winter storm, we ordered that. It's still not expected to get here till November. So these are 26 months lead times on generators. So it was a Herculean task from the Utility and Public Works Department of maintaining the system during the storm event. So my hat's off to them keeping us going. We now move into debris. I've activated the contract with Crowder Gulf that council, we go out for bid, we award those. We amended that contract in May. You'll see the price per cubic yard there, $8.47. They spent a day and a half going through the city estimating. They estimated somewhere between 40 and 45,000 cubic yards. So I took the high. So we'll look at somewhere around 381,000 for debris pickup. Grinding, that's based on our normal bid price that we get from our grinder at the mulch site. That's 103,000. We also have to bring in a monitor to monitor the debris pickup if we are to be eligible for FEMA funding. And that expectation is 122,000. That's 30 days. The debris pickup, they're thinking it could be done in 2 weeks, so that could cut it in half if they are able to pick that up sooner. The trick here is I don't know if we're going to be eligible for FEMA funding. The state has to meet a threshold for damage, and because the storm was so tight and compact, it only affected 2 counties and really only a handful of cities really hard, that the state may not reach the threshold. So if so, then we'll have to take this out of reserve, and that's why we have reserves. That's why we plan on that for, storms like this to do that. So that could be a possibility. The next meeting will have a rundown of all of our expenditures. I'm just trying to give you this is the biggest cost that will get hit with the storm, and I'm hoping that number will come down. I'm trying to give you a worst case scenario. You'll see what we already have. Ms. Webb had already secured TCQ permitting, years ago, and then we reaffirm that every storm season. So we'll place our storm debris right there at the old landfill behind the animal shelter. They put rock down today and tomorrow just to hold the heavy trucks. The scaffolding's up to do the evaluation of the debris monitoring, and then we'll grind it there on site, and then we'll spread it as a top layer, which is allowed under TCEQ. So that's where all the debris management will happen. We used to try to burn it, but it just became difficult, and we'd catch fires and have to roll out the fire trucks. It was just too dangerous. It's cheaper, but it's just too dangerous. The debris grinding works much better for us.
The only thing would be if we were not FEMA eligible, we would not have to spend the 122,000.
That's correct. We would not have to spend the 122, but I'm still, there's still a possibility. So I went ahead, and decided to do that, because if I didn't do it, we would not be eligible at all. So there's I may have a 30 or 40% chance that we could still meet the threshold. So, and I took the worst case scenario of 30 days. The Crowder Gulf thinks they can get it done half that.
So, what did we do with the mulch, the grinding of the mulch?
It gets spread out over the old landfill. It's allowed as a top dressing. So once we mulch it, then we move it with our own, machines, and we'll spread it out all over, and then it decomposes.
So
On the
do we
site.
give any out to the county or any cities?
We usually, we
Sand
can.
dune- Sand dune restoration.
We can. It's hard for them to have access up there, but that's a possibility.
We don't get it from this site, but we have it from our regular mulch site,
Okay.
because we are still bringing debris there right now until, we have some that's going up there, but we have grinding going on right now. We had that come in before the hurricane, and we are so full of mulch that I've called Missouri Parks and City of Surfside and all of those, and they are looking to come in and go ahead and be taking some of that mulch. So we'll see how we can get it all rolled around, but yes, come get mulch if you'd like some mulch.
Yeah. So
We've offered it to other cities and stuff.
Yes.
And
yes.
so tied on to that, how we do the Christmas trees out at the dunes?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that.
Can any of our debris and stuff be utilized the way that we do that?
I don't
Surfside?
think we can take just like the limbs and things like that. They've only requested ever the Christmas trees. I guess they go better, and they make the little dunes. They're easier to handle. They can compact up, I guess. And they just usually want the Christmas trees. But what they do like is to come get the first grind mulch, and they will come and get that, and they'll use that for dune rebuild and whatever else they need down there. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
So to give you a feel for just this size storm compared to Ike, you can see the Ike number. I looked it up this morning. Sally found it for me. We had almost 80,000 cubic yards in Ike, and so if this will be about half of it.
Do we have any guidance for citizens on sort of self-help removal of their own debris piles? If I got a trailer, can I load it up and take it to the site here? Is that
Yes.
too much trouble?
Yes, so Megan and Laura Marie have posted a lot of posts on the website and also Facebook of just giving, what to do on debris. The one thing that I have done, and we'll have to update our post, I have held back our crews on picking up large trash and debris right now, and so we're shifting that workforce to work on getting the debris, if there's any green debris, out of the drainage right-of-ways and out of the parks, to put it for the contractor to pick up. Because if they're picking it up right now, usually we need to get our own stuff out there as well for the contractor. And then once they get that out, then they'll go back to picking up debris with the contractor. So I think you'll probably see a pause for these next several days until Thursday. Thursday, you'll start to see the big trucks come in and pick it up.
But I can load up my trailer in my truck bed, drive it out to the.
You can
okay.
drive it out to the mulch site.
Dump it off
now.
and pick up some mulch and go back
Yes,
home and
that would be
lay it.
great.
Okay.
Yes.
You could,
Come
yes.
by Mango Street when you do that.
Yes, sir.
And we're asking citizens not to put out, large trash, but, focus on fence material and debris. And then we also ask them to keep that separate, because it's really, they put it in two different trucks. They can't chip up the fence material. And try not to put it underneath power lines or underneath trees, because the contractor picks it up differently than us. They pick it up with a big knuckle boom, and they have a more difficult time getting under those power lines. So if they haven't put it out yet, try to stay clear of those.
Okay.
Sabrina, am I missing anything? Yeah, thanks to the staff. Public information has helped put out a lot of information to the public. I think that's we've stayed on top of that. The mayor has been streaming, getting information. Logistics has done a great job of just. We have fed a lot of people. We've had a lot of donations from Centerpoint. We've businesses, and we've been pushing that. That comfort center was a great thing for us at first. When Centerpoint offered to light it up, we were thinking, well, I don't know if we'll get a lot of people, and we really did get a lot of people. I think even yesterday, the recreation staff that was assigned there and some of our volunteers got 750 meals they were distributed, and they were there when the mayor hit the send button for the notice. I think they were there in 5 minutes.
Yep.
Wow. We just got there in time just to start unloading meals and put them on the tables, and people were already there. So our emergency notification is working on that as well. No, we had I'm going to miss all the staff that worked for it. I could not have gotten through this without Brian. Appreciate. Again, I've said it a couple of storms. Very wise move by Mr. Yenny and City Council creating that position for us. And the night of the storm, the police department and the volunteer fire department. The volunteer department, they worked their butt off, just responding to calls, over and over, and in the most dangerous, time of the storm. The rest of us were sitting in, hunkered down, waiting to respond afterwards. Police department, fire department, they're out there. So my hat's off to them.
And again, back to the debris stuff is, just reminder is that because we have this contractor coming in, they prefer bigger is better for them. So if you still have trees to cut up, you don't have to cut it to the 4-foot length like we suggest or we require. They would prefer it be big. I think they said under 12 feet long or something like that, but if it's small, it takes more time for them to get it up, I guess is what they'll pick it up.
They got the equipment to reach out and get the biggies.
Right, yeah, so.
Anybody else I'm missing? I know I'm missing IT. IT was instrumental. You forget about, you still got to communicate with everybody. Computer's got to be up. You got to track stuff. You can't forget the IT folks. They stay there late at night making sure we don't get shocked with anything. So this is it's a team effort. And the other one we really can't forget, it wasn't so much of a storm for us, Centerpoint. They were fabulous on getting the crews out here, helping us with donation of meals, and just coming through for us, helping us to get the Civic Center started. Yeah, this was their event. We were kind of a second player, and
Yeah, the center, we hadn't even thought about doing anything with Civic Center, and then so CenterPoint called me up and said, we've got a fake 5 megawatt generator. Can we bring it down and hook it up to the Civic Center? Because that's where they come whenever we've offered at Civic Center in the past for them to be able to house people during events. This time they house people, staged everybody at the county fairgrounds and then moved people into hotels and stuff. But so we agreed to that. So they brought this piece of equipment down, and there was two things for it. One of it was for us to help us provide the services to the community. And also it was for the first time that they deployed this piece of equipment. And this piece of equipment was made possible by, after the freeze, the state legislature and the governor said that there has to be a way for companies like CenterPoint that are just, they just deliver electricity from point A to point B. They currently don't have generating power. The legislature provided them with the ability to generate power as needed during a storm like this. So they went out and they were building these large rigs that can come in, and 5 megawatts can provide electricity for 500 homes. And so their way they're set up is that if they know that a community is going to be out of power for 8 hours or more, they'll bring this system in and plug it into the grid and provide electrical power to the cities. So they were excited about it. They were glad that we agreed to allow them to hook it up. It wasn't easy.
it takes a little bit longer than your generator at home.
Yeah. But once it was up and ran perfectly fine. So that was really great. And but yeah, like Modesto said, they helped us out with meals. They would call us every evening and said, hey, we're going to have so many meals available. Can y'all take them and stuff like that? So
Megan wind up being our runner for meals, getting the CenterPoint meals each evening, each day, and she was fabulous, as was Milford. So again, it was a team effort. My thanks and hats off to everybody.
It was again, being an all power type win issue. It was a learning experience for us too. We started learning how CenterPoint works, and the best way to understand what CenterPoints was, they said, is you can tell us where you want to go, but it's going to slow us down. Just get out of the way, move stuff if we ask you to move it, and let us do our job. And that's what we eventually ended up doing, and they knocked it out. So, anything else?
No, sir. We'll probably put this on the next agenda as we move through this and get firmer expenditures and cost for you, so you see what the storm cost us, and then we'll have a better update on debris as well 2 weeks later. That's it.
Oh, one last thing. There was a lot of people that were concerned about people that were the elderly people that were shut-ins, type people that couldn't get in and out because of COVID risk and all that kind of stuff. But we did call our 211 list. We called it a couple of times and to check on those people and to be sure that, if they had any issues, that we would address those issues. So I know Vicki did it twice, I think is what I was told. Okay. So anyway, it's just, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things to think about. And a good thing is we had people giving us input, say, hey, have you checked with these people? And we did. All right, so we'll go to item J, which is construction projects.
We have very little to add to this period because primarily the COVID problem, not because of the weather. But the COVID has stopped a lot of the contractors from, progressing in their projects. They finally came back. They are now doing some of those projects that were left out there in limbo. One is the ramp projects on Yopon. They started going back to that job, and they are now progressing on the drainage crossing at Walnut. They are now gearing up and speeding up on that.
What about our friends behind Buc-ee's?
Our friends who are behind Buc-ee's have not done anything.
Right.
Yes, it's.
Are they talking with you?
No, they are not talking. But then again, we have not approached them about where they are or what the plans are.
Okay.
But we may need to do that, you know, I'll get Eddie on that, on those people tomorrow and see what the plans are. We finished the junction box at Old Angle, at Shot Pond Outfall. And Velasco Drainage District has just released their portion of the project at the creek on 100,000 on 100 linear feet of single pipe. They're paying in the order, the way I understand it, about $1,800 per linear foot. So if you extrapolate that amount to our linear footage of about 9 to 950 feet, at that price, it would have just blown.
What's that piping on the side of Willow Drive right before the bridge, Horse Creek Bridge? That piping,
Oh, they are, yeah, they
Willow
are
Drive.
pipe bursting that particular,
they can dig that up right there?
No, they're not gonna dig it. They have already gone through there. It was a problematic area because of the water, level in that pipe there.
So they're gonna remove that piping?
Yeah.
Okay.
They are.
So
That's it.
so 1.6 million
Yes, at that price,
for Shy Pond for the piping. You said we have 900 linear feet,
150,
so 1.7 million.
yeah.
Okay.
One of the other items that you'll see on there is bond projects. So Sal and myself, as well as the rest of his team, we've been working on downtown. So the only real update on that is that we're working with the new contractor as well as the engineering firm Kimley Horn that we hired to determine construction start date. So we had gotten feedback from businesses a few years back now, but then also when we spoke with some of them about the canopy removal projects, about when would sort of be ideal for them for us to start, and they indicated that around the holidays, November and December is just no good. That's their busiest time of the year, obviously. So we are now sort of looking at the idea of starting January 1 around there instead, so it would push back the date that we told you guys. We're ready to go. They're currently trying to get all of the materials they need, which is also potentially another hiccup, but for the most part, we're ready to go. We're just waiting now to sort of see what would be best for the businesses, because this obviously got pushed back with COVID.
We will have a kickoff meeting with the contractor on the 20th of this month, trying to hear from there exactly what the, what they could do or can't do.
That's today.
Hmm?
You said the 20th of this
No,
month.
and the 20th, somewhere,
Okay.
26th or 27th, I can't remember.
At some point.
Adds to that.
End of the month, between now and the end of the month.
From now to the end of the month.
Yeah, between now and the end of the month, they will show up and tell us what it is. It was one of the requests that the city manager wanted to hear from them directly, what it was, so that he can put the schedule of the starting date schedule based on what he heard from them.
And then the other one is the animal control facility. So since we last talked, I missed the last meeting, we have closed the request for qualifications that was out. We opened all of the proposals. We received 9 different proposals from various architects, local and not local. They were ranked by 5 staff members. It was a mixture of myself, Eddie, our buyer, and then 2 members of PD. We selected the top 2 out of those rankings, which was PGAL. They were the ones that came up with the first design and helped us do the needs assessment in 2018. There was the other one that we selected is Thorn Architects out of San Antonio. They are the one that designed the Vision, which is the animal control facility in Atascosa County.
Where's PGL from?
I mean, they're kind of all over. I believe they have a group in Houston though, so yeah, they're big. They're everywhere now. So they're not considered local, but they are in some aspects. So we've used them a lot. They're great. Both companies seem great. We've met with architects on both. We're doing interviews this week. Our first one is tomorrow with PGAL, and then the next one is on Thursday with Thorn. And the architect for the San Antonio animal control facility out of Scotia County. He met with us when staff took the mayor and any council members that were interested to Atascosa County's facility. He was wonderful. He walked us through everything, sort of told us what he would do differently, gave us some ideas, as well as the staff at the facility gave us the same type of thing. So, like I said, that's still the vision. I think both architects can pull it off.
How many dogs are you running a month?
It's a little over 100 animals a month. So,
Atascosa?
yeah, and their population size for the whole county is similar to that of our city. So they're a good
Okay.
barometer for that. Yep.
Good.
Yes, sir. So
Good.
we're excited. I'll let you guys know how the interviews go and who we select. We're hoping to select someone early next week. So I'll let you guys know at the next meeting sort of how that goes. But excited to get started. And I'll be starting the library flooring relatively soon. As soon as we get an architect pick for this, I'll go out for the next one, ready to get them all rolling. So that's the
That's
update.
good. Thank you. All right, we'll go to items of interest, and we'll go with Matt.
Okay. Yeah, lots of things to go around, of course, for the hurricane. The talk about city staff, which hope you all know we really appreciate what y'all did. And Centerpoint, which just did a great job, I think, at least from my perspective. But one thing I hadn't heard anything about that. I'd like to do a little shout out to some of our local businesses. I think they went above and beyond as well. For instance, the morning after, I had a breakfast taco from Sonic. And then at one point, some members of my family, including my 3-month-old, we didn't have power. They did a night at the Marriott Hotel on generator power, and I think just a lot of, those are just my own personal ones. There were lots of other ones out there doing whatever they could to help food-wise and air conditioning-wise and recharger-wise. So I just big shout out to our local businesses and to our citizens too. I think they've done a great job. It's been, as far as I can tell, everybody's maintained a positive attitude. I haven't heard of any overly negative, things. I heard some people honking at the, positive thumbs up type honking to the Centerpoint and whoever else is out there fixing our lines from Massachusetts or Maine or wherever they came down from, and Missouri. So yeah, I think everybody did a great job. So that's it.
Okay. Vinay?
Well, ditto to what Councilman Broder said, but I haven't heard a single negative thing from our citizens. I think all the feedback has been very positive. I've seen people go out there, talk to the Centerpoint folks and the contractors and thank them personally and bring food to them and stuff like that. So they have really showed what the Lake Jackson spirit is. So it's been great. So.
Agreed.
Okay. Bill.
I think they've covered it all.
Rhonda.
I just don't think it can be overstated. I think Mr. Sidebottom out there, he was all over town. Our PD, our fire guys, you city staff, amazing. Just workhorses. Y'all did a fantastic job. My husband and I were out delivering some supplies, and it was just the best thing ever the day after the storm to see. Neighborhoods all over our city. People were out. You could tell it was the neighbors were all helping each other out, and I just think as the community handled diverse times very well. Just proud of Lake Jackson.
All right, John?
Just like to give thanks to the community that came together as a whole and done a great job. And I'd like to give a special thanks to Brian for driving me around, and we did get to go pick up a couple meals and see Sal sweat by lifting some boxes. And Vinay.
Yeah.
He even kind of twists his ankle, helping getting boxes, but Brian did an excellent job, and we appreciate
Yes.
everything.
All right, real quick, we got, just to throw some numbers out there real quick. Modesto talked about the emergency response and stuff. The first night, we had 179 calls, emergency calls. 22 of those were fire department related, so fire department responded to those. And those were everything from people smelling smoke to trees on top of buildings and all that kind of stuff, and homes and vehicles and stuff like that. the next day, whenever I was driving around with Brian, it was first thing I saw, first emergency vehicle I saw on the street was the fire department was out there cutting up trees, because they worked all through the night and they were still out there cutting up trees. So that was just shows their devotion to help the community and so forth. But it was a joy to see the community pull together. I saw people helping each other, cleaning up yards, and it was amazing how quick people got stuff out to the curbside. And so that was really a great pleasure. I think that just shows that people take pride in our community. When I talked to a lot of the Centerpoint folks in the field, they were just amazing people. I mean, they enjoyed talking to you. You know, they'd answer any kind of question you had and stuff like that. But they were just really good people. And they also commented on that this was a beautiful city, and they wanted to help get it back up and running. So that was really nice to hear from those guys. And most of those guys hadn't been home. A lot of those guys hadn't been home in 2 months. And all of them have families. Most of them, everyone I talked to has a family. I didn't run into any single guys. It was all married guys with families. Final thing I just want to say is that we do have people in the community that still want to help out. An example is that the Brazosport Breakfast Lions Club, the Brazosport Noons Lions Club, and the Lake Jackson Evening Lions Club are all coming together to provide lunch for city employees on this Friday from 11 to 2 at McLean Park, and City Council is invited to attend if you're available. But they contacted me today and asked if they could do something for the city employees and stuff. So that's what we have. Staff.
Megan, Belford, Sally?
And we'll continue to, we'll be sending out some thank you letters and stuff to everybody that we can remember to thank them for all their help during this event. With that, we'll go ahead and close the meeting.